recent endeavors of cancel culture?
Aha, cancel culture.
Please explain.
Well,
I support cancel culture.
I also support cancel culture. Also, I think for what it's worth, I don't know that it actually exists, right? Like if we think about the people who have been quote unquote canceled recently, right? Like Shane Gillis booked tonight in New York City at the Strand. You can go see him. Louis C.K. getting booked. T.J. Miller also booked at the Strand tonight. Roman Polanski just won a prize at the Venice Film Festival. Mel Gibson still working. Woody Allen still working. Harvey Weinstein.
Which is my issue with cancel culture.
Actually, yeah, you're listing a lot of names here. I don't think I support cancel culture.
No. It's not that at all.
They're supposedly canceled, but they're still working, so they're not canceled.
They're not canceled.
It's like everyone forgets this, like anesthesia. Like everyone forgets about them after like the 2
immediately.
weeks.
Immediately after like this, the
That's why I
news
think
story
it's
goes.
bullshit.
It is bullshit. It's bullshit because it's also like it's like. I mean, cancel culture would be great if it worked, but actually, it's just a bunch of fake outrage because, like, we don't. There's
That
no.
is this entire social
There's
movement.
no consequences for, at least from my point of view. There's like very few consequences for any type of like misdoing, at least on a man's part.
I'm more into cancel culture for like photography.
Really?
Yes.
Is that a big like a Terry Richardson type?
With like creepy photographers.
Oh, dude, that's so hard as a woman because people will reach out to me like, hey, like I would love to take your picture. Like I work with comedy people, and I always have to ask like other people to be like, hey, is this guy cool? Like if I hang out with this guy alone, like am I gonna be okay? Am I gonna be safe?
Yeah.
And it's like really like jarring for some people to be like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, like
Which I think is the difference between like the photography culture. Because in most other cultures in the art world, it's male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In our world, it's female dominated.
Female photographers?
No.
It's mostly men.
People. This is my belief.
Women.
Got it.
This is my belief, but I think the
Your
photography
subject is
world.
mostly women.
Hold on.
Sorry.
I think the world of photography and models are like not different. I think they actually are one because without one, there isn't the other in most cases, unless you do landscape, of course, but that's a niche. So like when you reach out to a model, they ask, they're like close to his 5 friends or like the people I worked with or whoever worked with you recently. And so like if you are already canceled, if people like
have a bad opinion of you.
Yeah, so there's no, I mean, there is a need for some cancel because there's been some people who made it to the top with a bunch of sketchy, that has like a sketchy resume, but I don't think it's nearly as like.
That's true. There's a little bit more of a vetting process.
Would you say
yes.
Would you say like nearly as toxic as like the cancel culture of like what we were just talking about?
Well, it's because I think the cancel culture. How do I explain this? I feel like you would have been vetted out way earlier.
Yeah,
than
it cuts,
other
it
people.
weeds creeps out before they can like take off.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's not 100% foolproof,
of
like
course.
you just said.
But nothing's going to be.
But
like,
nothing's going to be.
I think that's why there's a bit of a difference.
For the most part,
yeah.
You're right. Like if people worked with you and had a bad experience, they're likely to tell other people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you reach out to like models, you're less likely to be able to book with them.
Because it's not even just like obviously there's all these like sexual assault allegations with all types of people in this industry, but like it's not also just male to female. Like there are some female photographers who are complete like shitty people.
Women can be creeps. It's true.
Not even I'm not even just being creeps, but like they can just be very like mean to the model or mean or just like disrespectful or just not professional at all. Like it's not just photographers and models. It's also agents
across the board.
It's
like
a whole thing.
And here is real feminism. Women can also be bad people. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I like her.
Real feminism is like actually like equality of the sexes, and that means that that means that we need to pay attention to like male intimacy, male emotion, like male expression, but also like it means that like women are not above reproach. Like women also can be bad people. Like the 2 women that helped Harvey Weinstein cover his tracks were quote unquote feminist icons of their time. Those were women who like betrayed other women. So like feminism does not mean that like, yeah, like every woman is like free to do what they want. It means like, no, we want equality and we want people to be held to equal standards. So right on, friends.
Oh, that's beautiful. So that was poetry.
Thank you.
I think I understand.
I
understand the cancel culture of like photography, what we just talked about, but like I definitely interrupted to bring up photography. So I don't think I fully understand like cancel culture of like
comedians.
Yeah, or just like in general of like pop culture.
Oh, well, I think it's like people like cancel culture means that.
Just like someone sends out like a racist tweet sent 7 years ago and then like boom, like he can't change. Or
Yeah,
they can't change.
that's
okay.
Well,
kind of drives me insane.
Yeah.
Sure. It drives me insane too, but I don't know that I see so much of that. I think a lot of what I see is like that happening, people getting mad, and then the person doubling down. When in reality, like if they issued an apology and like promised to be better and to learn, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like Maria Bamford, she got in trouble for using, Maria Bamford is a very famous comedian. She got in trouble for using like some transphobic language. And people were like really, really mad. And so she issued an apology. She met with a bunch of like trans people. She took notes and she changed her behavior. And now she's like, fine. Or like Lizzo, like this week, she had like a problem with her Postmates delivery or something, and she tweeted out this girl's full name. And like people were furious, obviously. And so then Lizzo like came back and she was like, I'm so sorry. Like I have a huge platform and I should not be using it for things like this. Like what I say matters and it affects real people. And going forward, I will be like way more careful about how I use it. And people were like, great, that's all we wanted.
What did that Postmates person do so badly?
She ate her food.
I'm sorry, that could be a whole funny thing. But
I know, it
I'm
was
not
really
even,
I mean, I laughed.
I'm not even
But
gonna
it's,
try
I
to
think,
shit
like,
on her.
I wonder if she deserved to get her name tweeted out then.
Yeah, that's what
maybe.
I'm
I
saying.
mean, nobody like, I mean, she has so many followers. Nobody deserves to
How many
be, like,
followers does she
trolled like
have?
that. Probably over 1 million, I would guess.
Don't eat her fucking food.
Is she that popular already?
I don't even
Lizzo?
know- I don't know her
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Don't follow her music. I hear a lot of people like talking about her, but I wouldn't listen to anything.
Yeah, so I don't see so many people just like being written off completely for one thing that they said a few years ago. It's the people who are written off completely.
First of all, who has that time to go that far back on
Okay,
your Twitter?
exactly.
That's
But
what I'm
people,
saying, like, why
people
people
will,
do that?
people
Like-
will
But,
go
like,
that far
why?
back
What
because they have
game do
nothing.
you
They have nothing
have?
going
But,
on.
like,
They have nothing
That's
going on.
the issue I have with it.
Yeah, like
what
me
game
personally,
do you
I'm
have?
24. I am not the same person I was when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, but you can speak
Or
to
even
that.
20.
You can speak to
Yeah.
that and you can apologize for that. Whereas like
because I've said some fucked up
Dude,
shit when I was 13,
but also
and I
the-
apologize for
But
that.
the world is different now. I said some
Yeah.
fucked up shit when I was in high school, even. And the world, like, I was going through my old tweets the other day, and I said like some really like not feminist, like slut shaming stuff, like really incendiary. And like my whole viewpoint has changed since then. But you don't know what you don't know. So you have to be like willing to apologize. Like I think like the Shane Gillis stuff. Are you both caught up with that? You know,
No.
the SNL guy who was hired and then fired because a podcast.
Could you educate really quick?
Okay, so he was an SNL guy who was hired, and then one of his podcasts from 2018 came out where he said like a racial slur about Asian people, and he said that Chinatown was dirty, and that they should get like the ducks out of the window, and then he said some really like anti-LGBTQ stuff about Chris Gethard and Judd Apatow, neither of whom are gay, and. So it was a lot of stuff, and then his formal apology was, if to anybody who was actually offended, we can talk about it, but I like to take risks, and sometimes I make missteps, and it's like, just say that you're sorry and you won't do it again, and that you're going to learn and move on. Like, don't defend your shitty position.
So it's like he was trying to apologize, but he like
No, he wasn't trying to
sidestepped.
apologize. He was apologizing because he knew he had to. He didn't actually mean it, and that's
Right.
the problem.
Okay, yeah. So he's
Yeah.
like sidestepping. That was actually a point I was going to
Exactly.
make earlier. I was like, how do you know like when someone's like being sincere about an apology, or like how do you know when like they're just like apologizing because they're a public figure and like have to apologize and it's their publicist typing that tweet for them?
Yes, I think a lot of it has to do with the language, right? Like I was listening to this radio article about the Louis C.K. apology, and it was a woman who was like breaking down like the language in it, and it's like there's like words that undermine your point, right? So when Shane said to anybody who is actually offended,
yeah.
like that
So it like mitigates it.
it mitigates it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, great word. It mitigates it, and it's like, okay, actually, if like, why not just say to anybody who was offended? Like, your intent is clear, like through the language that you choose.
Yeah, he was saying like you shouldn't have been offended, but like
Yeah, or he was saying like some people are just like making this an issue, and I know that they're not really offended by it. They just
He was
want to like
like, yeah,
join
you
the
fucking
discussion, which
pussies,
is like
like-
true, but not my point.
That's interesting.
so how did you watch Dave Chappelle's new?
I did Sticks and Stones.
Yeah, actually Alberto just put me on.
Did you watch it?
Of course.
He put me on
Watched
to
it
the other day. He was like, "Yo, did you see?"
Really? Of course you did.
Yeah, he was like, "Did you see?"
I think honestly, my I have two big problems with that special, and
I had a feeling you would.
Dave,
And many
Dave
smaller
Dave
ones.
can write a joke. I'll say that, and then also I'll say like I loved the Chappelle show, but I think that the Chappelle that was alive in that show it exists no longer because he is too popular and has too much power to be that person who spoke truth to power. Right, so his entire viewpoint has shifted, and the special was fine. He said that he didn't believe the Michael Jackson accusers, which is wild. I mean, it's fine, but it's also like. Childhood sexual abuse, specifically of men, is like incredibly prevalent and it's incredibly shrouded in secrecy. And for you to go publicly and say that you don't believe somebody who is brave enough to come forward makes it harder for other people that
To
happen
come
to you to
forward.
come forward.
Yeah.
It tells them that it's something they should be ashamed of, and it tells them that like nobody's going to believe them should they say something. So
Yeah.
it's like fucked up that he didn't know that like his he has such a huge platform. I think that was like kind of dangerous for him to say. And then also he said that like, because like he can use the N word, he should also be able to use the F word, like the gay slur.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that. Like you should not use slurs.
He used a lot of emphasis on that too.
Yes, exactly.
It was like a hard F.
A hard F, a hard G.
Yeah, he screamed that.
Yeah.
He screamed it.
It was like and I was like, ooh.
But see, that's my point. It's like you are not allowed to use a slur that doesn't affect your community, right? Like if you're a gay black man, you get to use both words, but otherwise, no, sorry, like that's not true.